This is Sports 225, Baton Rouge's longest running and best TV show. Now in its 18th year, if you count those 16 years of Sports Monday, and we do. Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, here's your host, Lee Feinswog.
Good evening. Fun Sports 225 ahead. First up and sitting with me, Jay Ducote. I'll tell you about him in a second. Later on, a feature from Breck about its First Tee program, which helps kids and is a really good deal. And then later on in the show, WAFB Sports Director Steve Schneider. But first, you might know the guy from his website and all that he does in the food community from biteandbooze.com. His name is Jay Ducote. But he's not here because of his bite or his booze, although that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Yeah, we might get to that.
We will.
It's sports related.
Absolutely. In my mind, for this show, sports, food, drink, and music are all tied in some form.
It all goes so well together, and it's culture around here. You know, South Louisiana, that's all part of culture, especially the sports and how that's related to food and beverage.
Exactly. But in this case, wait till you hear his story. So if you're a Major League Baseball fan, and if you keep up with it at all, and you would have seen this in years past, they have a thing called Fan Cave, the MLB Fan Cave.
That's it.
And I didn't know this about Jay. I didn't know that he was such a huge baseball fan. And as it turns out, an Astros fan, basically.
An Astros
right,
fan,
too.
yeah.
You have my sympathies.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And so all of a sudden, earlier in the spring, Jay is in the running for the MLB Fan Cave. And through contact with him and then seeing him posted on his blog, biteandbooze.com, I was like, wow, this is great. So we started talking a few weeks ago, probably a month ago. And you were still in the,
it was about a month
in the heart of
ago.
it.
I was in Phoenix a month ago.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. I think we talked when you were in Phoenix.
That's right.
I was like, when are you getting back? When are you going to be on the Fan Cave so I could get you, on the show? So we'll start at the basics. So explain to people what the Fan Cave is.
Sure. Well, the MLB Fan Cave is a promotion. It's really kind of the baby of the Major League Baseball marketing and PR wing. And they started it 2 years ago, so this will be the third season of it. And it's an actual physical location on Broadway in Manhattan where they've created an ultimate habitat for a baseball fan to hang out in and watch every Major League Baseball game all season long. So it's TV screens everywhere, enough screens to show all 15 games that could be going on at any one time. Just kind of a whole sports bar feel to it as well. Free Budweiser on tap since they sponsored it. Just all sorts of things. Pool tables and places to relax and hang out and watch baseball and be an ultimate fan. So this is a physical location in Manhattan where they bring some of baseball's ultimate fans to basically live there and watch every game.
You literally live in the Fan Cave or at a hotel nearby?
From what I understand, they put you up in apartments very nearby, but you go to work, 10 to 12 hours a day, depending on how long baseball's on, at the Fan Cave watching the games.
On one hand, it sounds like a great job. On the other hand, after maybe May, you'd be ready to hit yourself with a baseball bat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to find out, but it's an application process to get started. So I applied actually back in November or December. Just filled out an online application and submitted just a webcam video to introduce myself to Major League Baseball. And they selected me as one of their 52 finalists out of thousands of applications across the country.
All right, let me stop you there. What was your pitch to them? Like, what was your hook to them, like why you should be the guy?
Okay, so my hook really was that I'm a food and beverage writer, and I produce content, but it's all about eating and drinking and culture. But as a baseball fan, why do you go to the ballpark? Most of the time, for a guy like me, it's the food and the beverage and the ball game and relaxing. And you drink a couple beers and eat a hot dog and maybe some Cracker Jacks. Or food and baseball just go together so well. Beer and baseball go together so well. And so that was really my pitch to them: was have a food and beverage guy in the Fan Cave. Yeah, I'm a big baseball fan too. I grew up outside of Houston. I was a real big Astros fan in the late '90s when Biggio and Bagwell were in their prime, and they made several runs in the playoffs. So I've got the baseball side as well, but I really was pitching to bring a food and beverage guy and explore that side of being a baseball fan.
Pitching. So, just as an aside, if you go over to the Juice Box, Minute Maid Park, they actually have pretty good food for a baseball stadium, reasonably priced as well. the beers are just as expensive as
Yeah,
anybody else's.
the beers aren't. But
Yeah.
back in my day, and my day is not like your day, Lee, but in the late '90s, there were I was actually in high school at the time, so I wasn't worried about the price of the beer. But in the Astrodome, they had $1 dome dogs. And a hot dog for $1 at the Astrodome. You could get an outfield bleacher seat for $5, a couple hot dogs for $1 a piece. I mean, $10, and
That's big.
you had a Major League Baseball experience. So that's what I grew up with.
He's Jay Ducote from BiteandBooze.com telling us about his MLB Fan Cave experience. So when you got the call to go to Phoenix, it was for spring training. Was it at one of the specific team sites?
We were just in Phoenix, so it was the 52 that they selected, and then they narrowed that down to 30 based on online voting and just seeing who could actually generate some press. And so I was one of the top 30, and they brought those 30 of us to Phoenix, and it was pretty exciting being there. It was 29 other huge fans that all had the same dream to get to New York and be in the fan cave. And they put us up in a hotel. The first day we went to Chase Field where the Arizona Diamondbacks play and hung out around the field, on the field, in the dugout, filmed music video around the stadium, did some different interviews and a little elevator pitch kind of a thing to the executives with Major League Baseball, and then got to sing karaoke in the outfield at Chase Field. And then the next day we actually went to some different spring training sites. So I actually visited the Reds spring training site in Goodyear, Arizona.
Now, you met some people. So
I
you know,
did.
some baseball people.
Yeah. We got to, while we were at the Reds spring training site, we got to meet a few people. Jay Bruce was the one that we met in particular, and they actually played a prank on me while we were there. And
Baseball players did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the producers and the people that were doing everything with Major League Baseball that were working with us, and then Jay Bruce was in on it from the Reds, and they had the Fan Cave hopefuls lined up to ask a rapid-fire series of questions to Jay Bruce. And when it came my time, and as I walked up to the table, they yanked the legs out from under the table, so the table crashed, and his Silver Slugger Award was on the table, and it fell to the ground and broke. And then I got blamed for it, and it took a little while for them to tell me it was just a replica and everything was okay. It's pretty funny. It actually made the front page of Yahoo.com and all sorts of stuff on. It was on the MLB Network, and got a good bit of publicity about that for being pranked by Jay Bruce.
Yeah, well, Major League Baseball is just, that's the history of it is, goes to giving hot foots to who knows what else.
It's true.
Yeah, that's great. We'll take a break. Got to tell people about how it ended up, because spoiler alert, Jay didn't make it to the finals.
I'm here.
That's it. But that's not such a bad thing. He's Jay Ducote. I'm Lee Feinswog. You're watching Sports 225, where later on we'll have a Breck feature, and Steve Schneider, the WAFB sports director, will join me. We'll be right back.